What's up? Just decided to go for a walk. It's way too hot. Since I'm super busy this week, been moving house, trying to get all the stuff ready for when I actually leave and other stuff. I just wanted to do a quick update. You know, those things that people don't typically ever talk about. So, I noticed one thing that, you know, a couple weeks back, I was completely on the fence on whether or not I wanted to continue making videos. And it was the same problem as always. It's, what do I do to make the content actually engaging? Because I've always had that problem. Like, I felt like there wasn't anything in it for me. Because I felt like the effort I was putting into it wasn't being reflected in the view count, and it just wasn't. I didn't know who I was doing it for. I felt like I lost the whole plot. And I was like, oh man, I'm tired of doing this replay coverage. Like, all this editing for what, right? Where it doesn't even make a difference if I edit that much, that heavily or not. Like, why am I bothering? Maybe I should write more. So then I started writing, you know. And I remember I didn't touch YouTube for nearly a year. And then I took up teaching, and I've had a very fulfilling life, you know. And I had this one class where instead of teaching English, I just started explaining EVs to kids in my class. And I was like, why? I took this example. It's like, you know how if you give 100 rare candies to a Bulbasaur and you turn it into a Venusaur, you know, it's not going to be as strong as if you raised it all the way to level 100 on your own. And they're like, yeah, I know that. And so I'm like, why? And then that's how I basically made them understand what EVs are. And I did a whole lesson. It was really cool. So I basically took something they already knew, I flipped it around, and then I gave them a new, like a gateway to competitive mods, and they actually started asking me for teams now. But I didn't get back to YouTube yet, and I was wondering about all this stuff, you know, until 3 weeks ago. And, you know, this year I had started writing scripts, but I still didn't feel like I was there. Like, I was just, if I write a script, I'm gonna still feel burnt out. And then I stumbled upon this video that this guy did, and I have no relation with this channel whatsoever, never watched a video of his before. I wouldn't even be able to name the video. And he's like, he says this thing that really stuck with me. He's like, there's so many channels that used to be my favorite, and I stopped watching the moment they became heavily optimized. Because when you start editing, you're not editing for any particular reason. You're just trying to make it so that the algorithm promotes the content, but it's not technically better. You just upped the production value. You made it more digestible, but who actually remembers what you said? And he says, I miss the old YouTube. I miss those channels that, you know, I much prefer those channels that actually stuck with their method, right? Like, you can still edit, but, you know, make sure you're getting a point across. You have a point to get across, and that you're delivering it, and the rest is fine. You know, don't worry. There are plenty of channels that have a very strong community. because they're not trying to experiment all the time. They're not trying to fix everything. And so I just put down my pen, right? I stopped writing the scripts for videos that I never even began recording. And then I just went back to that formula of commentating on GSC Invitational. And I found that it was fun. Like, I'm just doing it for me. You know, I was like, all right, I'll do it. No promises, but, you know, it's kind of cool and it's nice to cover a couple of games. And I find that's amazing. Because the first comment I get was one of the nicest things I ever heard. And it's, this community will never die. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. That there's like nothing better could come from a million views than this comment. This comment was wonderful, and honestly, even though I'm not seeing the numbers, I'm getting more comments than ever, more engagement, and people are actually enjoying it. So that's a rich community that I'm building around, you know? It's not, I don't need to make the next viral video. It'd be nice, but I don't need to. Because that's not what we signed up to YouTube for anyways. Because I don't necessarily want that audience. The iPad kids, the people that are always... So anyways, just do what you want. And yeah. That's it.